how to build a Mando. So as we take you through the steps of how we build a Mando, we're going to show you one of our own. Dress ours up, and Gabriel here in his UCF gold and black Mando is going to walk us through the process. And if you have any questions, feel free to answer. Hi guys, I'm Gabriel. I am Bruce and in our Bruce Wars are our educational team and our costume representatives for the community. So we are here to provide our education to our respective members. Our content is about what kind of things go into their costume. So we have our lovely friend Rachel here. She's really awesome. She is the first triple threat Batuu that we have here in Florida. So she is an approved member of all three of the MegaCon. We have the final first, the Revolution, and the Mandalorian. So she's one of the very few triple threats that we have in the Mercs for this particular costume. So we're very happy to have her with us. So we are going to go through the build of what goes into being a Mando. We'll take a pause to get her assembled and move on to the next slide. And at the end, we'll open the floor for any Q&As and kind of get some of those nitty-gritty questions out of the way.
Hi everybody, my name is Ted. I'm the roof store here for Batuu. Now, a lot of people don't know what are the Mando Mercs. The Mando Mercs, we are a charity club that was founded in 2007. Fun little fact, it started off as a guild in the MMORPG Star Wars Galaxies, and so the group built up from there, and we all just got together to build costumes and kind of go forward with that. Now, we are also officially recognized by Lucasfilm Limited. You've probably seen stormtroopers walking around. So we are a sister club with the 501st, the Rebel Legion, as well as Dark Empire. Same. Okay. Yeah. And so we're primarily in Mandalorian costume, whether it's the ones from the show or our custom versions. So there are three eras that we do. The Crusader era, that's from Old Republic. We've got our modern era, which is your Jango Fett's, your Boba Fett's, and then we have Post-Imperial. And Post-Imperial is Mando, or later Bo-Katan, and some other ones from there.
So this is just a general flow of what typically goes into a Mandalorian costume. So we have our helmet. This is our most identifiable piece of armor. No two helmets are ever going to be identical. Mandos may share the same design, but this is what gives us all of our creativity and our uniqueness from each other. We have body armor, we have gauntlets and bracers, we have our soft goods, which are the undersuits and the pieces of cloth that the armor attached to, and then, of course, weapons. It is our religion effort.
So boots on the ground. Now, combat or utility boots are considered primary style. So usually in Star Wars we don't have laces, so we either cover them up or they're Velcro ones. One of the types of boots that is used by like Boba Fett costumers are called Chelsea boots. They have a little bit of elastic that allows them to stretch when you put your foot on. But either way, you got to make sure that you at least have ankle-height boots because we don't want to show our ankles. And company logo should be removed or covered, so anything that has like a modern like English text on it, we don't want any of that in Star Wars because there's no English in Star Wars. We have Urbash.
And then once again, materials, colors, that can all be kind of up to a customer's preference. We are typically on our feet for extended periods of time. When we are out in the community, we don't always have carpet. We're on concrete, we're in parking lots, we're running, we're spending time with the community. So we really prioritize comfort. This is, as much as we want to look cool, there is no sense in killing your feet to look cool. You need comfort. start, and this is usually the place I tell everyone to start, is your undersuit. So this can be one piece like like coveralls, flight suit, or two pieces like scrubs. This right here is a two-piece. So the reason you want to get your soft parts good first, you want to make sure they're fitted so that it's consistent whenever you're modifying your armor, making it, cutting it out, shaping it. Make sure it's always evenly spaced to what you'll be wearing in the end result. A lot of people will throw on a t-shirt or something, and then it will completely change by the time they're done. And they'll have to make more modifications, more cuts. Just wasting more time.
Basically, you just want a nice sturdy material. So things that our undersuits are typically comprised of is a canvas or a duck cloth. So my personal suit is a single piece coverall that I got on Amazon. It's Dickies brand. It needs some slight modification, but it can work. We can also have another really popular option is medical scrubs. So our customers will buy a pair of scrubs and then a second pair of pants. And so the pants to the arms of the t-shirt, and they now have a two-piece, which makes it a lot easier to get in and out, especially when you need to take breaks, get it off a little faster than trying to struggle in and out with a one-piece.
And as you can see, it's very well tailored so that there's no swimming of armor pieces, or as you're walking, they're not clanking around. They can be velcroed and stay in place as you're moving around. Alright, so
No time to waste here. And yes, that is the point. We are going to be talking about our waist items. So for modern Mandos, you do need two different items. So it could be a girth belt or a sash, holster or ammo belt, and then for our first commander, all you need is a minimum of ammo belt or a holster. You can add more, but those are the basic requirements. So just wait till you get in the first. So Bo-Katan is a very specialized kit. This falls under what we call our cannon brigade. So we are incredibly picky and strict about what goes in because our friends, young and old, our fans, this is an iconic character. So we want to make sure that we get it right. So for our cannon kits, there is very low customization, if any at all, that can actually go into one of these, but it can be some of the most rewarding because you are almost instantaneously recognizable as one of these characters. You are the face of the game. So while she gets dressed, a couple of other points. The waist items should cover the top of any armor if a loincloth or a cotton piece is present. So for Mandalorian, for modern Mando, you have to have something that covers that whole region, and it must be tucked under the waistbelt. And whatever your waist item you choose, it just needs to be a good construction. So material is really up to the individual constructee, but we want to make sure that it looks like it. So we have leather is a really good option for most materials. For our moderns, we've seen duck cloth, we've seen different canvases. I personally have a bird belt made of rope that I tied together, and I have a leather ready. To add to the point about the girth belt, sometimes those rope belts are horse cinches, or typically buy them online, but they're typically used by equestrian. You can buy it, I don't know, $20 on Amazon. But one of the ways that we try to color them is we tend to either dye them or paint them in the right way. Now they're not all paints are equal. You want to make sure that something that permeate those fabrics, get in there and change that color. But usually they start off white. Next we have the flak vests. Now the flak vest, that is the base construction that you will attach your armor plates to. Now with the modern style, the traditional Fett style, usually it has a zipper enclosure in the back or belt. And then once again, So Ms. Rachel's made a very unique design choice. She has secured her chest plate directly to the flak vest itself. So in a later slide, we're going to talk about this kind of chest armor and different ways that Mandalorians can attach it. This is just one of those ways. You could attach that and make it permanent. It's very easy to get in and out of, and always know you are going to look entirely the same 100% of the time. But for ease of cleaning, there are quite a few manders, myself included, that have my plates in a different attachment method, so I can take that off if I were to ever actually launder my vest. But the common thread runs through this entire presentation. Your material choice is going to be very key. You want to make sure that you have a material that is sturdy and is going to hold up to a lot of use. It gets hot out there, and it also has to support your kids. So for your flak vest, leather, twill, cotton, canvas, duck cloth, these are all really good material choices. What we do not allow is a t-shirt. So a lot of people will try to throw a t-shirt on over it. It's just not sturdy enough. The material isn't well enough construction, so it will actually cause ripping, tearing. Your plates won't stay in the same spot, so we want to reduce frustration with club members, which is why we kind of set this construction for necessity level so that it's just easier for everyone involved. And then your closures, a couple of different methods. Ted talked about it. We have zippers, we have laces, grommets, magnets. It's kind of really up to the individual, but you can use parachute buckles as well. You just have to kind of make it look like they are metal and not just a normal plastic. But that is another acceptable method. I personally have zipper. If you have zipper, you just got to make sure it's easy. So you can send an extra flap over it, or make sure that whatever plates you're choosing don't need any zippers or spots.
For the lower armor, these are common in like every costume you see, so knees are required. You can do a shin and knee combo, which we call shins. In lieu of knees, loincloth can be soft or can have a hard armor. Obviously, you see with the Mandalorian, like one side always look the same as the other. They have different armor plates or different shin pieces. So again, they get asymmetrical. It doesn't have to look all pristine. The lore is that we acquire a lot of armor from various places.
And I personally, I am a modern level. That is very much along the lines of Jango and what we saw in the prequel series, what we saw in Empire Strikes Back. So I chose to model my knees after the trip as well as my forearm. I'm all very familiar.
I'm just going to scoot up and give you a better view of this body while we're going to go through that. For those that couldn't hear him, what he was saying is for the lower body on the body, the bare minimum is both knees and the hard plate of some sort of plate. So for him, he has a hard plate, and others have a soft wooden foot. You can use various materials. You can use something like Darth Vader's soft cod if you'd like as well.
ease. There's no less than 3 pieces of lower body armor can be asymmetrical. These count as 1 piece. Additional plates may be added but not required. Shin covering is also required. Wraps, gaiters, all boots, airborne armor. Again, this is a spacesuit. We want to make sure that we have a seal around the lower parts of your legs. She's getting her shins on right now. It's a process. Yes, so handlers are very much important when it comes to suiting up in armor, as you can see here. It takes a village to raise a man up. Questions so far? Listen. Yeah, talk a little loud. Yeah.
One question I have is with the Mandalorian elements, I know personally, you see out of sometimes you have to go with the traditional teamwork, or can you modify that?
So yes, yeah, you do have to go with a traditional T look for the Mandalorians. That's just kind of our whole style.
Yeah, so there is or 2/3 of the vertical portion of the visor has to be visible. So you can add like a little something to the bottom, or add like a bridge around the nose. But as long as 2/3 of the section that starts where the T intersection, the horizontal and vertical part.
That is a really great question. We are actually
and we do not see the skull.
We're going to be covering helmets in depth again.
Alright, so our modern armor. Like I said, I am one of our modern Mandos. So the base upper armor for a modern Mando is a collar plate, 2 ab plates, a Beskar diamond heart, an ab plate, some form of shoulder coverings, and a back plate is typically required. But for Mandos in the modern era, there are some exceptions. So if you really want to wear kind of Wild West style duster, or a poncho, or a cape, as long as that, again, is a good material choice, it gives you the illusion that the back plate is there. The back plate is not actually required. So for people full-blown dusters, one of our other Mandos is kind of like a Wild West guy. So as long as he wears the duster, he doesn't actually have to put the back plate on. I choose to keep the back plate on. But colors and leathering, again, it's all creativity for everyone. You don't want to stifle the creativity, so as long as it looks good and the leathering is natural and appropriate, you pretty much can go hog wild on whatever you want. And your plates should be proportioned. So this is really where working with your club in your local area, wherever you guys are from, is really important. So you can print files on paper, you can cut them out, and then you can get multiple eyes, and that's what our whistlers are here for. We help to size those plates before you cut them out, because they do need to be proportional. Obviously, you don't want 2 chest plates that are extending far off your side. Not only because that doesn't look like a Mandalorian, but it's also a range of motion. Everyone will be comfortable in the costume because you're doing long con days. So the armor must be proportional.
Okay, with post-imperial armor, it's still very similar. There's still custom range of chest plates based on the show. There's covert and survivor, but it must be canon for mercenary. So to know the difference between Covert and Survivor. Covert is the one that was used earlier on in the season by Mando, and then and Paz and the armor and such, and then Survivor. Is that the one with the heavily the ones on Mando, so they have. But the collar covering is optional for the Covert and Survivor. If worn by the Fed style collars or upwards. Shoulders and hardback covers are required for Covert and Mercenary, even if a cape is worn. The backplate must be worn with the Mercenary, even if the jetpack is worn.
So once again, that is just one of the major differences between the modern era and our post-imperials. They have to have it. So when you do build your kit, don't just always remember that you're going to need it, because during the application process, our teams will want to make sure that you actually have that plate. Kind of going back with our jetpacks, so the modern Mandos, you can have a jetpack. You can have all sorts of back accoutrements to however you want the style of your kit going. And some choose to mold the back plate into the jetpack itself, so that they don't have to worry about it potentially falling off in the middle of an event. But that is, you still have to have it for post-imperial friends, even if you do move it directly to the jetpack itself.
I'm going to do my best here. So right now we're showing you the gauntlets for the post-imperial style. These are full hard-shell gauntlets that will cover the entire circumference of your wrist. In modern, you're allowed to have some soft-shell half-and-half bracers, gauntlets, whatever you want to call them, and braces. But in post-imperial, they're required to be, as seen on the show, a fully encased piece of armor. You can have different weapon systems on them in Covert. You're allowed to be, big BFGs. You can have your big freaking guns. You can do whatever you want. It's your customizable thing. But if you go Mercenary or Survivor, we like to keep those a little bit more slimline. Just it keeps it more true to the aesthetic that we've seen. And as you can see right here with Batuu, she's got the whistling birds. And on the other side, we have the housing for the knife and the flamethrower. So very streamlined, very compact, and you won't bang your wrists around when you're walking around a convention as I said. So it works so much better. What am I speaking so far? So let's keep moving forward. Modern gauntlets, like I said, you can have a customization unlike this, the Covert and Survivor. We've seen people put Gatling guns on them, we've had people put cannons. Some people like to do little pop-up scanner radars, and we see people put knives on them. Your gloves, when you're tucked inside the gauntlets, it keeps everything nice and tidy. You don't want to see hand meat sticking out, and from a Mandalorian perspective, you want to kind of protect yourself. You don't want to reach your hand in that Sarlacc pit to pull Boba out and get Sarlacc acid on you. So, but yes, the gauntlets seem fit from the wrist to about here, 2/3 of the forearm. Keep it covered. Vinyl, leather, things like that are not permissible for the coverage. So you need to make sure it's plastic, hard shell, just something to protect you. You want it sturdy. Weapons are our religion. So whenever you apply weapons in the club, you want to have these long-ranged or close combat weapon that's of sizable standards. Does anyone have a sword on them? Any best friends? And we call ourselves the Dark Saber. I am not worthy. You, my lady, have it. Please. There you go. You can have the garden trowel. The garden trowel of doom. So, it must be more substantial than this tiny little knife. And your blaster must be more than a small holdout blaster. Does everyone know those guys that run into trees on indoor? You know, what's that called? Yeah, what the Ewoks said, the scout troopers, they have what we call a holdout blaster. Holdout blasters are too small. You know, if you're in Mandalorian, you're packing firepower. What else? Oh, toys. So how many of you had Nerf gun before? Nerf guns are great, aren't they? Like, you love those things. You just pop your siblings around the corner. You know, your husband and your wife aren't doing the job. Just, you know, a little bit of a, get stuff done. Come on, get that done, honey. Well, you can take that toy, modify it, and by getting rid of the silhouette of it, changing some green leaves, some little fountain things, you can throw it on there, and you can turn it into a fun Star Wars weapon. You're going to paint it in a Velcro grease. You can take your Maverick 6-shot revolver and turn it into the next BFG that Paz Vizsla carries around.
Also, to kind of add to that point, so a lot of the times you'll also see like Star Wars weapons at like Halloween stores and such, but they tend to have little warning labels on them. In order to get them approvable, you need to remove those warning labels from the product. You need to make it look more like it's in universe.
Sand it down, putty it over, this man.
Yes. So you see Mando in the show carry around the spear. Sorry for spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, but he does carry around a Beskar spear. So you can actually carry more bladed weapons, and it is a bit more common carrying steel weapons or of the like for melee weapons for Mandalorians.
So looking forward, we're going to talk about helmets. Someone had a question about the helmets earlier. I think it was you, gentlemen, right here. Your helmet is your identity, and as we asked earlier, someone asked earlier, they have to have the teeth. There is one instance with Crusader where in the comics we see like H shapes or Y shapes. That's from way back in the day, Darth Revan era. But modern Mandalorians, post-Imperial Mandalorians have the T visor. You know it's a Mando when it walks up and you're like, oh, T, it's T-posing on me or something like that. It's probably funny. But helmets are required to have 2/3 of the visor, so you measure from the top of the T to the bottom of the T. 2/3 of that on modern helmets must be visible. You can customize the bottom with a breather, a rebleed, a chin bridge, because real life happens and helmets warp, especially in Florida heat. It's going to go right on you. So you want to make sure you protect that, and by doing 2/3 of it visible, the 1/3 is customizable. But on post-Imperial, we don't see that on the screen. We have yet to see anyone that's a Mandalorian with any sort of thing less than a full T visor. So, Moff Gideon is not a Mandalorian. He has something here, but he's not a Mando. Did I miss anything?
Right. One of the big things that you need to keep in mind is that a lot of the times those off-the-shelf Mandalorian helmets, like the ones that you get from Black Series, those require a lot of modding in order to be approved by the app team. And you need to make sure that the helmet is proportioned to your head because we don't want to have what's called bobblehead syndrome.
I have a large. It took me forever to find a helmet that was right on me. Whereas, contrarily, my wife is a very petite head. So my helmet looks like your dark helmet from Spaceballs on her. But for me, I'm like, it's space.
Alright, so we're going to wrap this up. So you can design your Mandalorian using mandocreator.com just to get your idea down, your color scheme down. It's pretty helpful. You can make contact with us on our forums, Mandalorian Mercenaries Costume Club, or MMCC is one of those. We have a forum. And you can use the clan locator there to find your local clan. Again, we are Batuu if you're from the area. And yeah, we can help you get started, guide you further. If any of this didn't make sense, the forums will help you clear up modern post-imperial. So don't worry about trying to say don't worry about trying to find this things on your own because we have some QR codes right here for you guys. They will take you to not only the costume requirements, they are incredibly exhaustive. We have not enough time in the panel to go over every nitty-gritty little detail that goes into these costumes. So we wanted to use this as a brief overview of what goes into making a Mandalorian. You guys can check out the requirements there. Our next one is a link to the journalized forums. If you scan that QR code, it will take you there. Go ahead and make an account, and then on our next slide, it'll have that clan locator as well as a direct link to our 2 clan forums, which are the Central Florida Mandalorians.
Also, if you guys have any questions after this, you can approach the direct booth, and we'll be happy to answer any questions. Anybody in cable, answer any questions. Also, any any of the guys wearing racer shirts or vests like we have, like that, we also will answer any questions that you got over at the booth.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much for joining me. I hope this has kind of demystified a little bit about what goes into a Mandalorian. And like we said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to come on up. We're more than happy to talk to you guys, or you can come visit us down in the Star Wars area on the con floor. Grab anybody in armor, wearing our vests, and we're more than happy to talk to you guys.